Hey there folks, John here with Through My Lens, and today I'm coming to you with another flashlight review. Today we're going to be looking at this Noctigon KR4. Now, Noctigon is not a flashlight company that I have any experience with. I believe they've got a previous model called the MSR that is somewhat popular in flashlight enthusiast communities. I kind of stumbled upon it in the dark corners of flashlight forums, and it's got a couple of unique features. This is a four head LED flashlight, so it's got quite a bit of output going for it, more so than some others that I haven't owned. It also has a unique capability to display colored lights. So it has some multicolor LEDs in here, and we'll get to that in a second. This is going to be just kind of a quick review. I've only had this for about a week or so, let me just go ahead and talk about what I like and what I don't like about this particular light. Sorry, you're hearing my dogs in her crate move around. So in terms of what I like about this particular flashlight, I do like the operating system. It uses the same operating system as the LumenTop FW3A or FW3T, like this one. That's a light that I previously reviewed here on Through My Lens. And I can't pronounce the name of the operating system. It's kind of like an open source system. I think it's called Andril or something like that. I'll throw up the name in here on the screen here in a second. But it operates the same way as the FW3A type lights in that it's got an electronic tail switch, and it has a multitude of different functions and outputs. The light is also available with a number of LEDs that can be ordered with it at different light temperatures depending on your preferences. So that's nice. Here in this side-by-side with the FW3T, you can see the FW3T has, of course, 3 heads, and this one has 4. And that kind of brings me to another thing that I do like about this light is that it does have a very nice bright high output, considerably more than this light. The FW3A has 2,800 lumens output, which is certainly not a bad number to be sure, but the Noctigon here, this K4, has an output of 4,300 lumens, which is of course substantially more, and it is a noticeable difference when you shine them side by side. So I do like that. I really like the color. It's available in several different finishes. It's an aluminum body that's basically just painted on here. Seems pretty robust. It's got a very nice texture to it. Try to hold this up and see if you can see that there are some grooves that are milled into the aluminum body here, which give you some grip, along with the knurling of sorts that's kind of milled into the tail cap. So you're not going to slip off this thing. It's very grippy, which I do like. One option that it has that's pretty unique on this particular light, it does have a tail cap that accommodates trits, and when you order it, show you a close up here of the tail cap. You can see it has the trit already installed, which is really nice. You can order it with your preference of trit color, and it will come pre-installed with the trit that you designate. So that's a nice feature. I do like the options available, and again, the different colors and so forth. Make it a pretty nifty thing to have. And it's a good value. I picked this up for $75 shipped, so you know, that wasn't too hateful considering some of the competitors in the marketplace. That's about what I paid for the FW3T when I ordered it. Of course, this is a titanium light, so you're kind of trading, I guess, some additional functionality that this light doesn't have um, for you're losing the upgraded titanium body. So again, good value. I didn't have any problem with the price. The overall build quality does seem to be a step above the basic Lumentop FW3A as well. Not that this is bad, but it does seem to just have a little bit higher quality in terms of the build quality, which I appreciate. Uh, uh, Again, seems to be a fairly robust light, even though it's aluminum body. And again, you know, certainly count on this paint scratching up pretty easily if you decide to EDC this. So there's the things that are positive about the light, the things that I like about it. Let's talk about a few of the things that I don't like. And probably the first thing I don't like is the shipping time. I guess a guy who runs a website called International Outdoors, I think his name is Hank Wang. I guess he owns the Noctigon brand, and he sells them on his website, International Outdoors. Wasn't clear to me if he's located in China or Singapore, but the light ships from there. It took over a month for this light to get to me. And yes, we are in the midst of COVID-19 and everything's taking longer. I understand that, but during this time I ordered other things from China that, you know, only took 3 weeks. So this took almost twice as long. So did not care for the ship time. I wish there was a way you could get lights like this from a US location. That would be much, much better. Also, not real crazy about this pocket clip. You can see it has a really big loop or gap there that, you know, I don't know why it's designed that way. You don't really need it. Again, by comparison, you can see the FW3A. It's much more svelte. That gap that's between the body and the pocket clip is much smaller on that light than it is the Noctigon here, and it just makes the light bulkier in your hand. It increases the hot spot that you get when you hold on to the light. It's altogether unnecessary. The quality of the clip is roughly the same, you know, as what's on the FW3A or 3T in this case, but so there's not a big qualitative difference. They function much the same. I'm just not crazy about you know, the size and shape of it. Certainly I would prefer something milled, but they're trying to hit a low price point, so I certainly understand that. What else here that I'm not crazy about? Let's talk a little bit about the multicolor LEDs. So when I ordered this light, I was under the impression that with those multicolor LEDs, I might be able to use this to shine a colored light on the wall that would be pretty bright. You see that in a lot of YouTube videos that guys use with studio lighting with multicolored LEDs, and they'll have lights shining in the background. I thought, hey, maybe I can use this light in that same sort of manner. But in fact, the multicolor LED brightness sound that's found on the light is not particularly practical. So there's 3 or 4 different modes that you can use on this Noctigon K4 with the multicolor LEDs. And to get to it, you have to click no less than 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's see. Yeah, you may not be able to see this, but because this is the lowest brightness level that the LEDs are in, but I have just activated it. It's already been set for a blue color, which I like, and it is on. If you do 7 clicks again, you'll go to the next available multicolor mode. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You may be seeing the little confirmation flash that happens at the end. Now it's a little brighter. You may be able to see it now. This kind of reminds me of what the head of a flashlight looks like if you have one of the nifty turbo glow rings in them. You can probably see I have a sky blue one in this Lumen Top LM10 here. I guess if you like the functionality of the glow rings or the glow gaskets, then you know the multicolor LED light sort of functions in the same way. In this mode, you could probably use it as a moonlight as well, because it does have some illumination here. You're probably again not going to see that in my studio with my studio lights on, but there is you know, probably a sub 1 lumen output coming from the multicolor LEDs. If I hit it again with 7 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we have our confirmation, and again, you may not be able to see it, but it's blinking. Now the multicolor LEDs are blinking. Yeah, you can see that. So the first mode, I think, could be a nice little like night light or help you to potentially locate the light. You could potentially leave the light in that mode at all times. According to the literature that I've seen, the drain on the battery, if you leave it on in that lowest mode for the multicolor LEDs, the drain isn't any more than what the battery is just going to drain on its own if it's not powered. So you could potentially use that. And again, the next mode, the second mode that I showed you, could be potentially a nice sub 1 lumen output for navigating in an area in the dark when you don't want to blow out your night vision, so to speak. This blinky mode, I have no idea what you would use that for, other than, I can't even come up with any good reason to use that. Let's see, try again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're back into not displaying anything. So there are 3 distinct modes. Now, in any of those modes, and this is really annoying to me, once you get to the mode, instead of releasing on the click, on the 7th click, instead of releasing it, if you hold it, then whatever mode you're in, you will see it cycle through the available colors that you have. And I'm not going to display that on camera because, quite honestly, I have it right where I want it in blue, and it's kind of a pain in the butt for me. So you have to know of the 3 available, the low, the higher output, the blinky mode. You have to know where you are. You have to know what mode's coming up, and when you get to that mode, if it's the mode you want, then you have to hold on to the electronic tail cap while it cycles through the colors. So again, to me, it's more gimmicky than practical. I wish the output were greater so that it might have some practical uses in the multicolor mode, but it is what it is. So I was pretty disappointed in the multicolor mode because it just didn't have much practical application for me at all. The other thing that I'm not crazy about is this light is a little bigger than I would want to EDC. Again, showing it next to the FW3T here, you can see that the FW3T is considerably smaller. It's slightly shorter, but a lot less bulbous or large in diameter. And honestly, that light is probably the very tippy top limit of what I would want to EDC, at least on person. If you bag carry, then you might not have any problem throwing this in your bag if you wanted to EDC this light. But the light is a little bigger. It's actually pretty comparable in weight to this titanium model. So it's not a featherweight light by any means, and it's not small. Here it is next to the FW, or excuse me, the Lumentop LM10, and it's this light kind of slots in between this one and the one I just showed you. It's probably, in this one again, the LM10 is probably bigger than what I want to EDC, but you can see that even that light is going to be smaller than the Noctigon KR4. So I'm not crazy about the size. You can buy tubes for it from International Outdoors, and you can make it longer. You can make it shorter. So you do have some options there. In terms of the battery, it takes the same kind of rechargeable flat top 1850 battery that you would want to use in the Lumentop lights. You can see this is a flat top jobber here, and because of the output, you are going to run through that battery probably a little bit quicker. And if you're wondering, when you do go into turbo mode, yes, it does get pretty hot pretty quickly. Let me go ahead and get the head back on nice and tight, and I'll kind of show you. So here's it's ramping up to maximum output, double click, and it is now in turbo mode, and that head is starting to get a lot warmer. At the same time that temperature is going up, the temperature protection circuitry is reducing the output. So you're only going to have that 4300 lumens available to you for a few seconds at best. So don't think that you're going to be able to walk around hours at a time in that 4300 lumen mode, because it's going to get hot quick, and the battery won't hold out at that output for very long either. As I mentioned before, there are different LEDs that you can get for this when you order it, with different temperatures, whether you like a cool white or a neutral, neutral tint, whatever. You can do that, much like you can with the Lumentop lights. I will say that the light is a little higher in brightness at the low end than the Lumentop lights, which kind of makes sense, because at that minimum power level to drive the LEDs, because there's a fourth LED as opposed to three, it is by default going to be brighter than a Lumentop at its lowest setting. Now that kind of brings me directly into the next point that I don't particularly care for the light, is that there's not a lot of information on the output levels to this. The Noctigon / International Outdoors doesn't state what the low end output is, or what the output is in some of the other modes. All you know is, or all I was able to find was what the the maximum output is in the turbo mode, which is, again, 4,300 lumens. So there was a lack of information and specifications, the kind of information that you would typically find with most flashlight manufacturers. So that wasn't great. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. It's not going to do what I was hoping it could do in multicolor mode, but it is a pretty neat light. Again, it's got some nifty features like the tail cap, the brightness. I like the color. So for 75 bucks, not a bad light at all to consider, but just be aware of the limitations, and hopefully I've provided some information here in this video that is lacking on the International Outdoors website. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Take care, God bless. We'll see you in the next one. I hope you've enjoyed this production from the Through My Lens YouTube channel. If you did, please click on the like button and do share the video on social media. If you'd like to see more content like it, please do subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and do check out Through My Lens at www.throughmylens.org.